Hi there, welcome to No Nonsense Whiskey. My name's VinPF, and on today's episode we're going to be going back and checking out another Heroes and Heretics bottling. Now this one here is a Strathclyde 27-year-old. That's hopefully you can see all that on there with the autofocus. Getting a bit closer. Nice. So this is a 27-year-old single grain Scotch whisky, Strathclyde. I'll just read you the information on here just in case you couldn't see that on there. It's obviously single cask. It's cask number 110036. It was distilled in 1990, in fact August 1990, and bottled in 2017. This one is bottle 128 of 250, very limited release, and of course it is an ex-bourbon barrel. Final cool bit of information, it's 55%, and something to note as well that it is a half litre, 50 cl. Definitely something to work out when you're doing your maths later. Now before we actually get into the whiskey itself, let's talk a little bit about the price of this thing. Now on Master of Malt today, for instance, this is £120 worth of whiskey, but I have to say, if you go onto the HAH website, that's the Heroes and Heretics website, there's a link in the description below, just a normal link. This is not an affiliate link in any way, shape or form, but you can go and join their kind of tribe. It's completely free to join, and they'll give you 10% off their purchases, and their bottle price for this right now is £90. It's already £30 cheaper than Master of Malt, plus a little bit of 10%. You can do the maths. It's probably worth checking out while you can. In fact, I've got one more bottle of theirs to come up, and that's a 27-year-old Bunnahabhain, but unfortunately that's already sold out. But I'm going to cover it anyway because it's a pretty damn good whiskey. Let's get back to this one itself. Single grain whiskey is something that I am very proud to bring to the channel, because I don't think it gets enough hype. Because grain, when it's youthful, tends to be a bit in your face, a bit powerful. It's not something that I typically enjoy that much, youthful grain. I do, however, really enjoy well-aged grain, and we're talking over 20 years. I've been fortunate enough to try a few really astounding grains in my time, but my kind of sweet spot for me is anywhere between the kind of 25 and 30 year mark, and of course very affordable in comparison to the single malt versions of these things. So a great example again, this is a Strathclyde single grain. This one's £90 minus 10% if you go and join that tribe, whereas the Bunnahabhain was around about 150 quid. Again, a half litre, same age, just it's single malt instead of single grain. No real reason for that other than pure popularity. It's just exactly what people are after when it comes to grain. Bunnahabhain's a kind of, dare I say, a household name, especially in the whiskey world. So it kind of gets that gravitas about it, whereas grain hasn't really hit that kind of limelight yet. Something that I'm really hoping to bring across to you guys. If you haven't already guessed it, quite enthusiastic about single grains. In any case, let's get into the actual tasting itself and see what we've got inside the No Nonsense Whiskey glass. Woo! On the nose then. Oh, now before I actually give the tasting notes, I have to say this is one of those occasions where you really do need to leave it sitting out on the side. The initial kind of, if you pour it straight from, I mean this has been sat around for a little while now, but if you did the neck pour of this, I should imagine it would be quite gassy. But leave it sitting out on the side and something really incredible happens. Now on this one, the first kind of hit is this kind of tropical notes, it's banana, that kind of thing. Loads of vanilla. I'm pretty sure, I'm going to guess here that this is probably a refill cask rather than a first fill cask, because after 27 years I'd expect a little bit more colour, but I don't think that's a negative at all. For that amount of years, you really want kind of minimal cask influence, I would say, because otherwise it would just be overwhelming, I think. So, perfect in this case. Loads of those vanillas from the wood, and oddly a little back end of kind of citrusy note going on the orangey side. Really nice nose. Let's get into the palate. There's a lot going on there. 55% is very prevalent. It's not one of those whiskies where it doesn't taste that ABV. Definitely taste that ABV. It's quite strong. If you're into your water adding, you might want to explore that. Of course, on the channel, I don't tend to do much water adding. Not really my bag. I move on. Bags of vanilla up front. Then it kind of transitions into some kind of like orchard fruits. It's kind of appley, peary, as well as those tropical notes coming through together. You'd think that they would clash, but really they don't. They kind of intermingle. You can pick one up, then the other, and then back again, that sort of thing. And throughout all of this, you're getting this kind of peppery spice that's really giving it a kind of extra dynamic all the way through. Really nice. In terms of finish, it's pretty damn long. Starts out quite sweet with all the vanilla notes going on. Then it's got this huge peppery middle ground. This is all finish we're talking now. Huge peppery middle ground. And then right at the end, just when the kind of pepperiness is disappearing, that citrus element comes back up again. Now, as you might have guessed, I'm quite enthusiastic about this and grain in general. I think this is an excellent example of what grain can really bring. And of course, although it is expensive at £90, usually in the past I've been an advocate of things that are less than 50. Of course, as I've said, this year I'm really looking at value over price necessarily. And if you look at what's out there, yes, there are some comparable whiskies out there, but not many, I have to say. It's a lot of money for a half litre, but if you've explored grain in any way, shape or form, you'll know that this is a pretty damn good age by a pretty damn good distillery. And for a shade over 80 quid, I think you're getting a pretty good price. Definitely one to check out if you're interested in such things. I think it's a winner.